Okay, this is the last of this example, of these examples on solving this particular type of quadratic equation. So we start off with 4p squared is equal to negative 10p. If you've been paying attention, hopefully the first thing you're aware of is that this is a quadratic equation because it's got the squared term. The squared term makes it quadratic. And for a quadratic equation, if we want to solve a quadratic equation, everything needs to be on the left-hand side of the equal sign. In this case, the minus t is not in the right place, so begin by moving everything to the left. Okay? You have to begin to move everything to the left. Sorry, begin by moving everything to the left is what I meant to write there. Everything to the left. Now, that means we're going to move the negative 10p across here. And that will leave us with 4p squared. Move the minus 10 across, becomes plus 10p. Okay, and now we're ready to begin. Okay, now we're ready to begin. So we can just go with step 1, or step A is what we called it before. We want to find the factors of the numbers. So the factors of 4, and we're going to look for the factors of 10 as well. So the factors of 4 are 1 times 4 and 2 times 2. The factors of 10 are 1 times 10 and 2 times 5. And the biggest number that appears on both lines here is 2. Okay, we have 2 on this line. We could pick this one or the one beside it. And then we have a 2 on this line as well. Okay, 4 on the top doesn't appear on the bottom. 10 and 5 are on the bottom, but they don't appear on the top. So the biggest number that appears on both lines is 2. So the GCF of the numbers of 4 and 10 is 2. Now you may have done that by factor trees before, but if you just list them, that's fine. And I think it's quicker. Right, so let's move towards step B. And in step B, we write out the letter that appears in both. And P is the letter that appears in both. P appears in both terms. Apologize for the writing. And the smallest power of P that's here is just P. Okay, so our answer to the first piece was 2. Our answer to the second piece is P. In step C, we put those two pieces together, and that gives us the GCF of the original expression. Or at least the expression after we moved everything to the left-hand side. Okay, so it's 2p. We're now going to go and divide the first two terms as it was on the left hand side. We're going to divide each of those by the 2p that we just found. Okay, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. P squared divided by p, subtract the powers, you're going to get p to the power of 1, which we just write as p from here on in. 10 divided by 2 is 5. P divided by p, it's the same power. When you have the same power, they actually just cancel. So it's just 5 there. So we're nearly there at this point. Step E is to take the result that you just had from D, 2p plus 5, write it in parentheses, and then from step C, write your answer from step C on the outside. Okay, so the factors are 2p times 2p plus 5. Okay, those are the factors of 4p squared plus 10p are 2p and 2p plus 5. Okay, we're now on to the last part of this, question, which was to find the solution to the opening equation. Now, even though the equation originally was 4p squared equals minus 10p, we're going to solve it in the form that we changed it into with everything on the left. So we're going to solve 4p squared plus 10p equals 0. 4p squared plus 10p equals 0. And the solutions to this will be the same as the solutions to the original. So we know, we've worked that out, that the factors of that are 2p times 2p plus 5. So that's how we can write it. 2p times 2p plus 5 equals 0. And we've seen, this is the third example now, so just put each of the factors equal to 0 individually. And you want to get the letter, in this case, p on its own in each case. So for this one, we're just going to divide by 2 because we know that 2p equals 0. So divide by 2. And 2's cancel, and you get p is equal to 0 divided by anything is always 0. And we've come to expect that 0 is going to be one of our answers. Here, if you want to get p on its own, let's move the 5 across. It's the easiest way. So you move 5 across, it becomes negative 5. Now divide both sides by 2. 2p divided by 2 is equal to minus 5 over 2. The 2's will cancel here, so you have p is equal to minus 5 over 2, which to me is perfect. But if you're somebody who prefers mixed numbers, you can have p equals minus 2.5. And if you're somebody with some sort of a peculiar dislike of fractions entirely, you can make it p equals negative 2.5. I guess those are the three most common ways of writing it. Okay, so your answers, again, there are two answers, p equals 0, p equals negative 5 over 2, or negative 2.5, negative 2.5. And while we work that out for the expression 4p squared plus 10p equals 0, those answers apply just as well to the original question, 4p squared equals minus 10p. Okay, thank you for listening. Good luck with all your problems.